You know, when you think about Lady Gaga, it's pretty wild. For nearly 2 decades, she's been this constant force in pop culture, a true global icon. But in an industry that's famous for chewing people up and spitting them out, her staying power is, well, it's kind of rare. So how has she actually done it? Let's get into it.
And that's the big question, right? How does anyone stay relevant, let alone at the absolute top of their game, for that long? Is it just pure talent? Is it luck? Or is there something more strategic going on here? A plan we can actually break down?
Well, it turns out there's a formula behind the magic. It's a really powerful two-part strategy. The first part is this idea called mass intimacy. It's how she builds this incredibly deep bond with millions of fans all at once. And the second part? A masterful, almost fearless commitment to strategic reinvention. These two things, together, are the engines that power the Gaga empire.
Okay, so to really get this, we've got to go back. Way back. Before there was Lady Gaga, there was Stefani Germanotta. And the foundation she built for her career was anything but an accident. It was a rigorous, deliberate process of building an artist from the ground up.
I mean, just look at this timeline. This isn't just a normal childhood. It's basically a training montage from a movie. She's learning classical piano at 4. She's at a prestigious Catholic school, but at the same time, she's also doing a decade of method acting at the famous Lee Strasberg Institute. Then she gets early admission to NYU's top arts program. This is the discipline, the bedrock that her entire career is built on.
And this is where it gets really interesting. You see this duality that defines her. On one side, you've got the classicist, the disciplined, traditionally trained musician. But on the other, you have the provocateur, the one studying controversial artists, writing papers on them, and learning how to fully become a character. This mashup of tradition and rebellion started right here, years before any of us knew her name.
So, picture this. She drops out of NYU to pursue music full-time, and her dad gives her an ultimatum, a pretty intense one. He says, you have 1 year to get a record deal or you're coming back to school. That intense pressure cooker is what forged the Stefani Germanotta band, it's what sharpened her skills in those downtown clubs, and it's ultimately what gave birth to the persona we all know as Lady Gaga.
All right, so the foundation is poured. Now it's time to build the empire. And she didn't just stumble into a career. No, she architected a global brand with almost military-like precision. This was the beginning of the fame monster era.
And wow, was it an explosive launch. Her first album, The Fame, sells over 8 million copies in just about a year. She's an instant superstar. But then, the Fame monster comes out, and it does something maybe even more important. It doesn't just sell albums, it builds a community, a tribe, her little monsters, and it gives her brand this deep emotional story.
So how'd she do it? How do you make millions of people, especially people who feel like they're on the outside, feel like you're speaking directly to them? The key is this idea of mass intimacy. It's this incredible skill of being a larger-than-life global icon while still making each fan feel seen and understood. It's like building a bridge from the biggest stage in the world right into someone's bedroom.
It's so effective that researchers at the London Business School actually broke her strategy down into these 4 steps. First, emotions, being brutally honest and authentic. Then, experiences, making her concerts these unforgettable theatrical events. Next, engagement. She was a pioneer in using social media to actually talk with her fans, not just at them. And finally, exclusivity, creating this totally unique world with her creative team, the House of Gaga, that nobody could copy.
And if you want to see this whole philosophy in action, look no further than the meat dress. This was not just some random stunt to get attention. No way. This was a calculated piece of performance art. It was a protest against the military's don't ask, don't tell policy. Her point was that if we don't fight for our rights, we'll have as many rights as, well, the meat on our bones. It was so powerful, it's now literally in a museum.
But here's the thing about empires. They always face challenges. And just like the icons who came before her, your Madonnas, your David Bowies, Gaga knew the real test isn't just getting to the top, it's finding a way to stay there. For her, the answer was always radical reinvention.
And for Gaga, that challenge came in 2013 with the album Art Pop. It was super ambitious, but the reception was mixed. It was the first time there seemed to be a little crack in the armor. A lot of artists might have stumbled there, but for Gaga, it was just a signal that it was time to change the game, completely.
And wow, did she pivot. I mean, this was a hard left turn. She goes from the avant-garde electronic pop of art pop to releasing an album of jazz standards with the one and only Tony Bennett. This wasn't just a new sound, it was a total repositioning of her talent. It silenced anyone who thought she was just about crazy outfits and studio tricks. She proved without a doubt that her voice was the real deal.
And she didn't stop there. The next reinvention, the Joanne era, doubled down on this idea of stripping things back. She traded the wild costumes for a simple pink hat and a dive bar vibe. And instead of playing for 50,000 people in a stadium, she played these tiny, intimate shows for a few hundred fans. It was a genius move to peel back all the layers and connect on a really raw, personal level.
And all of this whole pivot from pop provocateur to authentic artist, it all led to this moment. A Star is Born. This wasn't just another movie role, it was the ultimate payoff. It perfectly fused her musical talent with that acting training she'd had since she was a kid. And the success was just mind-blowing. She became the first person ever to win an Oscar, a BAFTA, a Golden Globe, and a Grammy all in the same year. The reinvention was officially complete.
So that brings us to right now. After conquering pop, jazz, and Hollywood, what's left? Well, she's doing it again. She's reinventing herself for what people are calling her 2025 Renaissance, the Shattered Mirror Era.
And the thinking behind this new era is it's fascinating. The Shattered Mirror is the big idea for her album Mayhem. It's this metaphor for looking at your fractured past, knowing you can never put the pieces back together perfectly, and instead finding a new kind of beauty in the brokenness. So, in her art, that might mean using glitchy visuals or having lyrics that show the seams of her past selves, creating something totally new from all the old fragments.
So, is this all working? Is this latest reinvention connecting with people? Well, just look at this number. 124 million. That was her record-breaking number of monthly listeners on Spotify in 2025. That is just a staggering figure. It shows her power isn't just lasting, it's actually growing.
Now, 124 million is a huge number on its own, but this chart really puts it into perspective. Your average top 10 artist is pulling in around 80 million listeners. Gaga is just in a completely different league. This isn't just being successful, this is total dominance.
And she is not slowing down. Her game plan for 2025 is on another level. Headlining Coachella, playing massive stadiums, and then a historic free concert on Copacabana Beach. I mean, she is operating on a scale that very, very few artists in history have ever even attempted.
So when you pull it all together, what do you get? Her incredible, long-lasting success isn't an accident, it's a formula. It's this unique fusion of her deep classical training, her academic brain for high art theory, and this razor-sharp, brilliant understanding of brand strategy. Because through all the different looks, all the sounds, all the reinventions, there's been one constant: her message. This quote about the meat dress is the perfect reminder that underneath all the spectacle, there has always been this powerful, consistent purpose about fighting for what you believe in. And that leaves us with one last big question. In today's world of viral moments and songs that are forgotten in a week, has Lady Gaga actually cracked the code? Through this deliberate formula of brand building and constant strategic reinvention, has she created the permanent blueprint for what it takes to be a true, lasting, modern superstar?